Well, I wanted to jump on here with some ominous political news. Yes, but it's not ominous in a bad way. Frankly, it's ominous in a good way. And it's about time we got some good news around here. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I sort of report on the news. I don't know. You tell me. Take a look and let me know what you think I do. So, I want to talk about the ominous news. The ominous news is for Mr. Ex President Trump, and the ominous news, which, you might have seen it in the headlines and not thought anything of it, but that's why you got me to point out the things that you miss because I'm reading the energy and I'm talking to my spirit guides who are pretty sharp. So, the ominous news is Mr. Tacopina. Yes, that is a real name. And he is a real attorney and he does represent Mr. X, President Trump. Well, he has stepped down from his duties midstream, mid case, probably even mid speech. I wouldn't be surprised if he just got up out of the chair and walked out, never to be seen again, except for that he showed up on some news show to tell us all why he had to leave. Now, does that make any, you're like, yeah, right, Susan. Well, he's just number 50 in all the attorneys that have left. That's where you would be wrong, oh dear viewer. My spirit guides felt that it was important to tell me this at 4 a.m. So I think it's important for me to tell you now. What's important about Mr. Tacopina leaving is that there's an ominous, the thing I wrote in my notes, because frankly, they just tell me stuff. And if I write it in my notes, they stop talking to me so I can go back to sleep, which is preferable. So what I wrote in my notes was ominous. This is ominous. Now, why? Well, I asked the same question and they told me it's ominous the way Barr leaving the White House, leaving Trump's employ while Trump was a president was ominous. If you recall, Barr left in Christmas, right before Christmas, right before Jan 6th, at the very end of Trump's term. Barr said, I'm out. And supposedly they left on good terms. Now, that's all well and good. But the reason why Tacopina has anything to do with Barr is that the energy is the same. We have the hindsight. We have the benefit of 2020 hindsight, looking back at Barr and saying, oh boy, did he ever know what was going down, allegedly. And he didn't want to be sitting across from Jack Smith with a tape recorder, giving a deposition. He didn't want to be investigated. He didn't want to be on the hook for whatever it was Trump was planning. So he said, I'm out. I'll go so far. I'll go so far. I mean, Barr was no kindergartner. I mean, he did a lot that I don't agree with to our country. So he was not a lightweight. He was a heavyweight in more ways than one. Yet he decided, I really need to leave. This is crazy town, and I'm going to end up in jail, prison, something. So this is the same energy with Tacopina. Tacopina has been watching. He's not a dumb guy. And I would actually say Alina Habba is not a dumb woman. She may not be particularly well suited to the type of law she's trying, but she's not a dumb person. Tacopina is not a dumb person. They're just people that have questionable moral character. So, but Tacopina, again, the energy suggests that he said, I'm about 5 court dates, 5 times before a judge, close to being disbarred, close to perhaps being on the witness stand myself, close to being deposed. And no, I didn't sign up for all of this. I'm out. So why is that ominous? Because it's ominous that Trump is going to do something. Again, these external people they're like the canaries in the coal mine. When they start dropping out, that it's bad in there. You know what I mean? The smell is particularly bad in there. They gotta evade. They gotta go, right? They gotta run away. So I think Tacopina is an important indicator here that Trump is up to something. Either A, he's up to something no good or no gooder, or I don't even know what scale we're using these days to gauge where he is on the scale of unbelievability and crazy and criminality and all the above. But whatever that scale is, he's about to top it out. Trump has exhausted all of his legal remedies, all of his legal strategies, and it's over. Now, that doesn't really hold water, because if that's the case, then Trump would just be indicted or convicted or jailed or whatever happens, right? Or he would be fined. Attorneys don't go to jail. Their clients do. So attorneys are usually pretty comfortable about representing that client all the way through the process, because they're not on trial. Do you understand where I'm going here? Are you with me? Tacopina fled for the hills. Barr fled for the hills. This is what happens. Even Pence said, that's it. I'm not going that far. I'm going all the way up to the line. I'm not crossing the line. This is what the spirit guides have always said, that these people, not all of these people, but a handful of them, they're talking about Casey Hutchison right now. They're talking about a lot of people. Say, no, Eastman is another one. He said, I'm going to go to this line, but I'm not crossing this line. This is exactly the line where I become, on Trump's side, where I become part of the legal system, where I become the investigated, the indicted. I don't want to do that. So that's what I think happened to Tacopina. So now that I'm in this energy and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yeah, he didn't leave because Trump wasn't paying him. As a matter of fact, he could have said, I'm not getting paid. And there's certain things that attorneys can stop representing their clients for. Not getting paid is one of them. But you're not really allowed to just dump your client for any reason you want to. It just doesn't work like that. So he could have used this, which everybody would have believed. And it's probably true anyway. So he could have just said, I'm not getting paid. I'm not going to, and that all of that would attract, that wouldn't have raised any suspicions. Yet his response was, I had to consult my moral compass. This dude has a moral compass. He just found it. Like, where was it? Did it get lodged down into his sock or something? He's just now finding his moral compass, but he found it, y'all. And that compass said, run, honey, run. It literally said, get out while you can. Maybe his moral compass is Siri. And he said, Siri, I'm representing Donald Trump. What should I do in this case? And Siri said, run, honey, run. Any of us would have said, you big sucker, what are you doing? But he finally came to his moral compass awareness, found the sucker, consulted it, and then promptly walked out on his boss. You guys, this is big. This is a big deal. Now, I'm not saying to you that today, tomorrow, next week, you're going to notice some flip the table moment. The spirit guides have used flip the table moment. They've used trap. They've used all these things. They've used the 100 arrows in the very beginning of this. They told you. Think of it this way. There's 100 archers with 100 arrows. 95 miss, because they were trying to prepare us for the fact that there were going to be a lot of injustices, a lot of justices that just didn't stick, even though they should have, even though they would have, had it been me, had it been you, absolutely, we'd already be in jail. 5 or 4 would make their mark. Well, we've got a really good 3 to 4 people, and E. Jean Carroll is killing it right now, frankly. And I do believe that E. Jean Carroll is really carry the load of this. Now, why and how? Well, it's because she's wearing him down. If you don't think so, just Google Trump replies to E. Jean Carroll. He disparaged and maybe even libeled E. Jean Carroll a whole bunch of times. So she's in his head. You know it. He's not sending out his messages about other people nearly as much as he is E. Jean Carroll. She is in his head. He is really worried about her. For some reason, she has power over his mental health. And that's a good thing, right? Because he certainly has had power over her mental health for all of these decades. And frankly, in this court case, she has been reported to be sitting ramrod straight and sort of gripped with fear to even be around him. This is how she believes that he could be violent, that he could just burst out. And I do believe that he could. I do believe he has that energy. There's lots of videos where defendants lose it and attack people in the courtroom. I'm telling you, I don't think this is completely out of the scope or the potential for a Donald Trump. So E.Jean Carroll is wrecking his mental health. He's literally not doing well just regarding her. And he keeps attacking her. And I think the judge will continue to take that into consideration and to up the amount of money that he will owe her. Now, secondly, we have Tish James, who's going after his real estate license or his business license in New York, and that could actually impact other properties. This guy is going to be like Rudy Giuliani. He's going to be penniless, literally penniless. He didn't, the guides are saying he doesn't have enough money in reserve. Now, what they mean by that is allegedly he doesn't have enough money in Swiss bank accounts or in other places. Now, also, if you're a longtime viewer, you'll know that the spirit guides have said that Trump and his family, because I do believe they're old school, MOB, allegedly, they hide things in the ground. Like they bury things in the ground. So I could see them, and I've seen this visually, and other psychics have seen it too, independently of me. I can see them burying a treasure box. Maybe they think they're pirates. I don't know. But they could bury like a box with gold and silver in the ground. Something, money could get soiled or something. They're not going to take any chances with soiled money not being accepted by the Treasury. They're going to put gold. They're going to put bars of money in there. Also, because they got to have an exit strategy. And their exit strategy is not like escaping to Miami. Their exit strategy is escaping from the United States. So you're going to be much better off if you have gold bars and silver bars. That is going to be easily traded and it's not going to be, there's no serial numbers on gold bars, the spirit guides just said. There's serial numbers on money. And if somebody really wanted to make your life horrible, they could somehow track that. I see him squirreling away money. But even then, the spirit guides have said he doesn't have enough money squirreled away. I also see the kids. The kids are not to be trusted with each other. They're not going to let one of these kids get away with all of this. So the kids have their own security details watching these places where this money is. What I'm saying is that if one kid has a security detail and they're supposed to be watching it, you better believe two other kids are going to have their own security details watching that security detail, because there's no honor among thieves. Okay. So he doesn't have enough money. He's going to be broke. He's going to be broken. And what I've always seen is, because I have a lot of new subscribers. Thanks, everybody. I don't know where you came from, but welcome. Like I said earlier, grab a crash helmet, grab some goggles, grab a life preserver, parachute, whatever it is you think you might need. Well, what I've always seen is Trump we know he's mentally declining. And I've always seen him either in a gitmo. Do you understand when I say gitmo? I mean a secure building that is so secure that it doesn't even show up on Google Maps Earth. You can't get a cell signal out of this building. It's a bunker. It's completely defendable. There's no outside communication. There's no TV. There's no cell service. There's no nothing. So he's in this place. And then the other thing would be either he's in there and he's sitting in the corner, drooling and yelling for Big Macs and Diet Coke, or else he's in there and he's slightly more with it yelling for Big Macs and Diet Cokes. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. The only other option is for him to cross over. And those are our options. Now, I got to say, I do this channel. I don't tell you guys what you want to hear. That's why the spirit guides have me come up with 1-800-Spirit Guides, press 1 for complaints, because I don't tell you, I know what you want to hear. I can tell you exactly what you want to hear. I could probably have a lot bigger audience if I just told you what you want to hear. I can't do it. I can't live with myself. I have to tell you what I get. That doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm right. It means I'm taking a chance. I'm trying to translate what my spirit guides are telling me, and I'm taking a chance and translating that into human words and sharing it with you. And you can believe it or not as you see fit. That's the way this really should work. So the thing is that I don't think he's going to serve time. The word I'm trying to get is justice. We're not going to be served justice. There's all the words in the right places. And I'm okay with this because I've already been telling you this for 6 months. So, I mean, I'm already used to it. But some of you are new. What does that mean, Susan? Well, it means that this guy is going to nut out and he's going to be incompetent to stand trial. Or he's going to get through what I've always seen is he gets right up to the criminal trial and then he's incompetent to stand trial, or he dies. Best case scenario, and I mean this honestly, is that he gets through the first criminal trial and then he does those two things. He's not going to make it, you guys. He's not going to make it to trial 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's not. He's not going to make it. He can't physically withstand the pressure. And whatever's happening with his mental status, which I really do think is tertiary syphilis, because that's what my spirit guides keep telling me it is. Tertiary syphilis. It's going to kill him. It's going to take him out. But before it does that, it's going to render him completely gone. His mental faculty is going to be gone. His cognition gone. So we're not going to get to trials 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what is going to happen, and I think this is important to know, is that because we have when I say we, I mean, of course, DOJ, Jack Smith, Tish James, whoever, all the above, have so much evidence. And I mean rock solid, the words the guides are using is irrefutable evidence. That evidence will be used in a court of law against these other players. And these other players are all the people you've ever thought should probably be held accountable. All of the Congress people you think should be held accountable. All the senators you think should be held accountable. Even potentially some of the judges. I'm not even I can't rule out that Alina Habba won't be held accountable in some way. I really am seeing right now Judge Eileen Cannon being held accountable in some way. Now, is this in a criminal way? Potentially with anybody, but with Judge Cannon and Attorney Habba, I think that they're going to be sanctioned. The words I'm getting is sanctioned by their professional organizations, maybe the bar. And I've told you guys this many times. I've seen Cannon having a golden parachute. Maybe she steps down. Maybe she pulls a Tacopina. She steps down just before it's about to get real. Just before she's about to get that sanctioned. Maybe she hangs it up. Maybe she makes a deal with the bar and she says, I'll keep my law license, but I'll step down from my judgeship. Because all along, I maintain, and allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only, that she has been funded. And she will go to a think tank or to some partnership entity that will continue to fund her. You guys got to remember, the guides are telling me right now, judges don't make all that much money. Let's say she makes $250 a year. I mean, that's a lot of money to me. But she could go to a think tank and make 800,000 or $1 million a year. We're going to pay you $10 million over 10 years if you do XYZ, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. But this is what I've seen psychically. So now you can see the layout of the land, right? Trump isn't going to do these trials. He's going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, one Fruit Loop short of a bowl of cereal, whatever you want to call it. He's going to be out of commission, but his evidence, the evidence that has been accrued while they've been investigating him, is going to be solid gold for all of these Congress people. And for a lot of other people. I mean, I do think there's going to be other people caught up in this. Could be Secret Service. I'm seeing somebody in a uniform. I think it could be a police uniform, because Secret Service doesn't wear a uniform. But I did hear Secret Service, and then I saw a uniform. So welcome to my world. They're giving me information in visuals. I'm hearing it through clairaudience. I'm knowing it. I'm feeling it. All the above. So I saw Secret Service briefly with the black jackets. And then I saw a uniform, and I don't know. I feel like that could be a police officer. Rank and file. They just told me the words rank and file. So I think I don't know what that means. I think it just means not a captain, right? Doesn't rank and file. I don't know what that means. Anyway, they just said rank and file. So when does all this happen? Well, that's the hardest part of this job. I have blown the timelines many, many times. So please take whatever I say with a big grain of salt. But I have to say that for the past 6 months, the spirit guides have been saying March, April, May, also June. So between March and June, and that's all around the lunar eclipse and around the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is in April, the lunar eclipse is in March. And those eclipses, that energy goes on for 6 months. I think that's why they told me also by October. So for sure, this is all going down by the end of the year, and for sure, by the election. So what does that mean? It means that we're going to have a Republican ticket, but no one's going to be on it. Trump isn't going to be on it. DeSantis obviously isn't going to be on it. Vivek isn't going to be on it. The guides have told you that Haley was the only one that was going to last to the end of this thing. And here we are. Haley is the only one that's lasted to the end of this thing. They told you this months ago. So I still don't see Haley. Let me go into Haley's energy for a minute. She's very bitter. There's a bitterness. She's angry and bitter about her situation, I want to say lot in life, which is kind of funny because I don't know. I mean, it's not like she's poor and living on the streets. I mean, you know what I mean? But anyway, she's wanted to, I'm getting this message that she's wanted to transcend, her race or her culture or her whatever. She also her womanhood. She wanted to be a man. I mean, not be a man, but she wanted to prove that she could do what a man does, what a white man does. She wanted to be president, right? She wanted to break all of those glass ceilings. So far we've had a male Black president, but he was a Democrat, Haley. I mean, maybe you should rethink some things here. Maybe what you wanted was really, really just like never going to happen. I don't know who should break that to her, but she's in the wrong party. I mean, if she was a Democrat, she'd have a really good chance if she was a Democrat and she talked sense. However, she's bitter. She's angry. She's really feeling that glass ceiling. Like, I can't push out of this, glass ceiling. Instead of feeling proud that she's gotten this far, like her parents are proud of her. Her parents have this sense of, my gosh, you've attained so much. You really have bounced back from all these different hits that you've gotten. Her parents are very proud of her, but she can't seem to be proud of herself. Instead, she's feeling very angry that to her, there's nobody should be proud until you've got the brass ring. The only time she's going to be proud is when she's in the White House. It's like failure is not an option, and there's only one way to win. So she's not in the best mental spirits right now. Also, I want to say, because now that I'm in Haley's energy, and with Haley, so if you're new here, let me break it down again a little bit more for you. So Trump and certain Republicans are funded by countries outside of the United States. End of story. It is what it is. They're funded by countries outside of the United States. Talk to Liz Cheney. She's the one who says this. But anyway, a lot of people say that. Liz Cheney and Haley, they are like Nikki Haley. They're wanting to be funded by the American oligarchs. It's all the same thing, except for that one is outside our country and the other one's inside our country. So these people like Liz Cheney that are all patriotic, rah, 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 they're patriotic because they think that, American oligarchs should be telling everybody what to do, not these other countries, which is fine. To me, they're both oligarchs, and I don't want to answer to an oligarch. But why is this important for Nikki Haley? Well, because Nikki Haley is funded by the American oligarchs. In this case, the Koch network. The Koch network has been funding her. A lot of big United States businesses have been funding her. So why that's important is because they have come out against Trump. So now you have this, like the guides are calling it a death match, kind of in a way, because these two groups are really fighting over the Republican soul, the Republican version of the soul of America. They really see it as a death match. They see that if Trump wins, well, we're all going to be speaking Russian or some other language, right? But if they win, well, then the best thing happens is that they all get great big tax write-offs. And, poor people have to pay for their kids' lunches in school. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen in their, in their worldview. We lock up the country and we only let people from other countries come in our country under certain visas where we can require them to work when they're 12 years old and work for $5 an hour. And then we get cheap labor right here in the United States, and we can reduce our shipping costs. To them, this all makes sense, right? Like, this is how you do it, people. It's really crazy. So you have this battle royale. Also, the guides just called it, this battle royale of these two forces. Now, while they're over there duking it out, we've got our man, Biden, and the Democrats in there trying to steer the country, not off the cliff. They're trying to bring temperatures down. They're trying to really bring temperatures down, because one thing that the Trump MAGAs do, and they're really energized to be polarized by these other countries, because these other countries want a mayhem in America. They don't want America to have its act together. We're the king of the hill. They want to knock us off the hill. That's why all this is happening. Biden is trying to keep all these, the words the guides are using is subversive energies. They're trying to calm them, exclude them, or somehow limit them. So this is what Biden's doing. Biden is trying to, within our own free speech, he's trying to keep things calm. When somebody pops up or a group pops up and they start acting cray-cray, he tries to limit them if they break a law, but he has to wait till they break a law. So this is where we are, right? This is where we are right now, going into the summer. Now, I do think that Biden, and I'm not 1,000% pro-Biden person. I'm 100% pro-Biden person. I'm going to vote for him. I voted for him last time. I'll send him $50. But I'm just telling you, right? I'm not here to shill for Biden. I'm just telling you the truth. This guy with his DOJ and his ATF and CIA and FBI has done some real work to keep these groups from causing a lot of us pain and suffering. He really has. There's a guy that is now before a court of law, but he was arrested a year ago and he was going to shoot up some school. We're not finding out about all the good things that the ATF, the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, Biden is doing, because they get arrested and there's no publicity until they get before a court of law, which is generally months to a year later. So all of this good stuff is happening, but we're not aware of it. And even now, this guy's going before a court of law. It was a blip on the news because it happened a year ago. So even though Biden and the ATF and the FBI and the CIA and all these people are doing really strong work and really keeping us on an even keel, we're not really hearing about it. Okay. So I just want you to know that. I want you to know that really and truly, I think Biden has his hands on the tiller. I think he's piloting us pretty well, pretty confidently. Are some crazy things going to happen? Most definitely. But many less crazy things are going to happen because of his steady statesmanship. Sometimes that's boring. Sometimes I want him to do more. Sometimes I want him to be more of a fighter. But you got to give him credit where credit is due. Maybe he's not more of a fighter because that's not what we need right now. Maybe we don't need a president who gets out there and tells people to shut up and sit down. You know what I mean? Maybe that would actually raise the temperature. Maybe that would trigger the MAGAs even more. Maybe we need a soft-spoken, steady president right now to get us through this, because I think what he's doing is working. Stay tuned for big doings, As Trump, the last thing I just want to say is, as Trump gets closer to feeling hopeless, he's going to act out. I really do think he could do something in a courtroom. I think he could shove someone. I think he could throw something. It might be something, of no consequence. It could be a pin that he throws. And guess what he's doing when he does that? He's testing the judge. Is the judge going to overlook that? Yes or no? Well, if the judge overlooks that, then the next thing is it's going to be something bigger, right? He's going to throw something bigger. He's going to throw a book. He's going to escalate it until he gets, I think, put in jail, because that is his plan. He's said it before. He said they should lock me up like Nelson Mandela. I mean, I want to take a swing at him for that particular, putting his name and Nelson Mandela's name in the same sentence. I just personally want to take a swing at him. But anyway, because locking him up is going to energize his base. People are getting tired. They're getting bored. There's nothing left. There's no excitement. They've all come to the realization that he's not going to win. And I've always told you guys, the spirit guides have always said, when your friends or your family says to you, they're all the same. They're all the same. Republicans, Democrats, they're all the same. That's when you go into the restroom and have a private moment where you go, yes, because they're not all the same. But that is your Republican friend saying, I'm not going to win, therefore I'm withdrawing. I'm not going to vote. That's them saying, I'm not going to vote. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with all of it. So now that everybody's fed up with everything, Trump needs to do something to get their attention again. It's like trauma. It's like he wants to incite them again. The injustice. He wants them to feel the injustice of him being in jail. I don't know that it's going to work out like that. I also think the judges know that he wants that. And I think they've been reluctant to give it to him. Because also, if he goes to jail, he's going to make a bunch of money. Because then he can again incite the wound that these MAGAs feel. And then they're going to open up their wallets and send him money. And he needs a new grift. Nothing is working anymore. He needs new money. So don't be surprised if he doesn't do something in a courtroom to push a judge to gag him and or to put him in jail for some period of time, which is just going to be really interesting because you can't put Trump in jail. You can't put him in the population. I keep telling you guys. I've been telling you guys for 2.5 years. You can't do it because some gang member will knife him and then we'll have a war. You'll have a war in the prison. We'll have a war because that gang member will say, this is for my country. Now, an ex-president has been killed by somebody in prison that is saying their allegiance to some country. Now, if you can imagine what country that might be, what country do MAGA people hate? Oh, okay, right. Remember 9/11? Remember everybody getting in the streets? Remember all the rah, rah, America, America, America? You have not seen anything yet. That's why he can't go to the general population prison. He can't do it. It would end badly for us. Now, where's he going to go? Well, what I just talked about earlier, the Gitmo. It's going to go to the bunker where he can not be on TV, where he cannot tweet, he cannot truth, he cannot social media, nothing. He literally is going to be erased. Well, you know, the guides just said that's going to create a lot of anger and animosity and worry and fear and anxiety because did they kill Trump? They killed Trump. You know, these are people that have conspiracy theories at the yin yang. So you see how delicate, can you guys understand seriously how hard it is for all these judges and the DOJ and Biden to figure out how to deal with this man? Do you understand now that it's just not that simple? You just don't take him and put him in jail. You just don't take him and do this with him. He has a lot of power in these weird ways. And there's no easy solutions. That's why they would rather him kind of go along being boring, saying the same old things. Plus, right now, he's out there in media land, lost in space, literally lost in space, saying that, you know, Obama's still president and Nikki Haley was there at Jan 6. I mean, I don't even know what all this man has been saying, but he's proving to us that he's not mentally sound. So maybe this is the best path forward for now, right? Thanks for watching to the end. If you have indeed made it to the end, thank you so much. And I'll be back real soon with more political videos. You're watching Susan Lynn, Psychic Medium. Thanks for your likes, your shares, your subscribes. I don't know. We have like a record number of new subscribers. So thank you so much. And record number of shares. Share this with your Democrat club. You know, maybe let them know there's hope. I don't know. I do know I want you to take really good care of yourselves. Okay. We'll talk again real soon.